I've been asked to share a blessing over our food, and being involved with FATV for so long, over many years we've had many wonderful volunteers, and some have passed on to be with the Lord tonight, but they're here in spirit. And I thought before I asked the blessing tonight that perhaps we could just have a moment of silence to remember those great volunteers that are watching us tonight. Would you join me in a moment of silence? Thank you very much. Our Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the pleasure of gathering together for this occasion. We give thanks for the food prepared by loving hands. We give thanks for life, the freedom to enjoy it all, and all other blessings. As we partake of the food, we pray for health and strength, to courage to live our lives pleasing to you. This we ask in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. And amen.
Some people are still eating, and they're going to be serving dessert, but we've got a lot to get through tonight, so we want to start our program. We want to thank you so much for coming tonight. This is a wonderful turnout and a wonderful venue here at Oak Hill Country Club. What a beautiful spot. We're so excited honoring our Boulder Award recipient this year, Ellen DiGeronimo. This is just a marvelous night, and we want to thank you so much for coming. One of the first things I'd like to do is talk a little bit about FATV. My name is Bill Gates, and I'm the president of the board of directors, but more than that, I'm a volunteer at FATV. I've been doing it since 1990, and I can't think of any time I wouldn't want to volunteer for FATV. There's so many wonderful things we do throughout the community, events that we cover that people don't get to know about through the newspaper or other venues. So it's very exciting to be a part of FATV and honor all of the people in Fitchburg that do good things. I'd like to recognize the board of directors. When I call your name, if you could please stand. The vice president of the board of directors, Ken Jones. The treasurer, Bob McDermott. Secretary, John Dextres. Arthur Collins. Arthur's probably doing the Celtics game tonight. Arthur works for Nesson, I guess. So he's probably doing the Celtics game. Darren Dame. Counselor Dave Clark. Glenn Fossa. Pastor Howard Shad. George Marajanian. And John Gugarty. Again, we want to thank everybody for coming. We have, there are so many people here tonight that are city officials and people that should be recognized. I'm going to try to recognize a few people. If I miss some, please don't hold it against me. This is just a wonderful showing, and we're so very pleased to have everyone here. I want to recognize Representative Steve DiNatale. Former Mayor Dan Mylott. I especially want to recognize a person that kind of got FATV off the ground, one of the first executive director of Fitchburg Access Television, John Giannetti, is here. Right? is one of the reasons why FATV still exists today. They did a great job with their contract. I want to recognize the gentlemen that are sitting with here at the table that has done so much for communities in Central Mass, his generosity and his involvement with the community, Mr. Ron Anson. Also, I don't know where he's sitting, but Judge Elliot Zeid is with us tonight. Thank you so much for coming. Also, I have to recognize a guy that I remember years ago when I was starting out as a land surveyor. I would go to a coffee shop in Lunenburg every morning just to see his show, and that's Dave Rogers. Workers Credit Union. I'd like to introduce, Mayor Lisa Wong could not make it tonight, and being here in this place is Ryan McNutt, and Ryan would like to say a few words. Ellen DiGeronimo. Ryan?
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry Mayor Wong couldn't be here tonight, but it's my honor to be here on her behalf, and it is my honor to present this citation from the City of Fitchburg to Ellen DiGeronimo. Ellen is somebody that I've only known for a couple of years. I know you've all known her much longer than me, but her work speaks for itself. She's somebody who deeply cares about Fitchburg, and I know that because she continues to work on Fitchburg's behalf. Still, many of the meetings, many of the economic development meetings that I go to, all of the developers want to meet Ellen. So it is definitely well-deserved. This City of Fitchburg, Massachusetts citation, be it hereby known to all that the City of Fitchburg, Massachusetts hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Ellen DiGeronimo in recognition of your civic leadership in utilizing public media. You've definitely been on the cutting edge of all of the social media and different outreach and marketing. I mean, you definitely embrace, utilizing public media, and this award is very, very fitting.
Thank you so much.
Can you step around this side?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I do want to say I have to apologize, but I kind of figured that we'd be introducing this person as we go on, but really is appropriate that I probably should have introduced him first. And that's, we are so honored tonight to have with us former Governor Michael Dukakis and Kitty Dukakis will be speaking tonight. Also joining us tonight is former Mayor Bill Flynn and his wife Jane. Our next speaker came to us about a year ago. We changed executive directors at FATV. It was time to kind of broaden what we were looking for. The technology is changing. Access television is changing. We don't know where it's headed. We don't know if television is going to be the internet or something else that's going to happen. So we have to keep track of it, stay up with the technology. And we hired a person that came from California and the music business, Shelley Wolf, who's done a tremendous job in this last year, going out to the community, engaging the community, bringing people in, getting young high school students involved at FATV, talking about technology, looking towards the new technology of YouTube and everything else where everybody's throwing things up on the internet. And hopefully someday FATV will have their own site that kids can throw things up on the internet. But it's my pleasure. So she's done a fantastic job last year and has worked extremely hard helping put this thing together tonight, the majority of work putting this thing together tonight. Shelley Wolf.
Thank you, everybody. Don't make me cry, please. This is supposed to be a fun evening, and this evening's not about me. This evening tonight is about Miss Ellen DiGeronimo. And but I do want to take a few moments to thank everybody for a magnificent year. As many of you know, I've had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of stormy weather here in Massachusetts. That was not part of the job description that you guys informed me of. So here we are. Today I'm grateful to be at the Boulder Awards, where I was announced 1 year ago, and have sunshine for an entire day full, and that was really thrilling to me. So first things first, I want to thank everybody that has made this past year a tremendous year. I could not have done it without each and every one of you, whether it was last-minute phone calls, whether it was, putting brochures together, just making sure that I was okay here in Fitchburg. And so I'm going to start out by, first of all, introducing my staff and thanking, and I, just as Bill did, introducing the board, but I also want to thank my staff and have them each stand up so you all know who they are, from staff to consultants who've worked with me over the year. And I'd like to start with Dave Beliveau, who was also a board member for the last 20 years of our station. So, very back there. So, we have Terlanzo Amos, who also comes from Malden TV, who handles our programming for us. So, Tim Douse, which I'm sure there's many a relation of Douse here. So. Miss Sue Syatt, which it seems she knows everybody in town. I was blown away. Teresa Roberts, who helps me every day through accounting. And also Miss Jo McLaughlin. I want to thank her for helping me in terms of consulting and putting programs together when I need great design artists. So thank you, Jo. Craig and Travis could not be here today. I also want to thank them. They do keep my technical side up and running. Also on camera tonight is Mr. Brad Saracen, who makes sure that your local government and school committee meetings are covered. So here he is making sure this is covered. So thank you. Also, in talking about those who have, again, I'm going to miss people, so please forgive me. I've only done this for a year. So when I heard John Giannetti was here tonight, I also know that every day we have a roof over our head. And in having a roof over our head started it back in the day when Mr. Clark Strait made sure there was a roof over our head, and I know he just walked out of the room. But also John Davis, who is here tonight, with him and his wife, where we are at 175 Kimball Street, making sure that we can continue business every day. So without all of you, we could not do this. Everybody is a volunteer at Fitchburg Access Television. We do have a few staff members. However, without volunteers, we could not make sure that public access continues to exist. I know a lot of you guys see emails from me all the time, and not only did I come here to promote access, as Bill said, I came from the music business, but I also spent 15 years in public access, and I spent a lot of time in California fighting cable companies and working with Congress to make sure that access continues to exist, and I continue to do that every day. And I ask for all your guys' support in making sure that access continues, because it's an important piece of civic leadership in what we do, which is another reason why we're honoring Miss Ellen tonight, because she is one person who continues to utilize public media to get the word across. And without local access, we could not do that, and we can't do that without every single one of you supporting what we do every day. So again, thank you. Thank you for making my job fun, making it what I love to do, and I hope every day that I can continue to fight for the freedoms of speech and make sure that every producer that's in this room that I want to announce right now, but I can't because I know that I'm going to miss somebody, so I'm not even going to try. But it is important to me that you all understand that without the viewers, those that volunteer on productions, those that produce shows, we could not survive without each and every one of you. So thank you very, very much. And tonight I'm excited to make this evening happen. And before I continue on and we go on to bigger and better things, I also want to thank the Oak Hill Country Club for everything that they've done. I think they've done an amazing job tonight. We're thrilled to be here. Hopefully your meals were good. And I also want to thank my board of directors, because without them, it's interesting. I'm a female up here having a conversation with all of you, and I have 11 male board members who I report to every day. So for those ladies out there, you know what I'm talking about. And the challenges that we're up against. But anyways, again, I'm here to support each and every one of your guys' ideas, get the message out there. Thank you for everything that you do. And what we're going to do now, before we get to Ellen, is honor our Robert Wilson Scholarship Foundation. It was set up in honor of Robert Wilson himself. Unfortunately, I did not get to know him, but I am going to ask Tina Wilson and Glenn Fawcett to come up and talk about this scholarship before we award it to our recipient tonight. Thank you.
As the years go by, there may be fewer people in this room that remember Bob. In the studio at South Street, in what I called the bread truck at the live events, or maybe just simply hearing his booming laughter through headphones. But there are also many of us who will never forget. Since 2005, we have worked to establish and maintain scholarships in his memory. And given that Bob strongly believed in supporting the community and enjoyed helping others when he could do so, the awards are given to students that support those qualities. And this year's award is no different.
Thank you, Tina. Bob was a special member of the community. He worked at Fitchburg State College, which at one point was Fitchburg State, which is now Fitchburg State University. And little known fact about Bob, shortly after I got on the board of directors, Bob unfortunately did pass away. But what folks may not know is Bob was very engaged with the community beyond that was always public. I have the fortunate experience of being on the Fitchburg Police Department, and Bob actually helped us enhance a videotape one time that assisted us in a case, and he was that dedicated. And it is that dedication, Tina, that we celebrate tonight, for sure. We'll all miss him, but his legacy will live on. And tonight's recipient of the Bob Wilson Scholarship is none other than Ms. Stephanie Sandrelli. Each year, FATV, of course, covers live the Fitchburg High School football games. And each year, we look for a student who will do a halftime break for us. And we look for a young man or a young woman who wishes for a career in broadcasting to assist us. As far as the young men, we're 5 for 5 for women. So Stephanie once again rose to the challenge and has done an exceptional job. Stephanie, thank you so much. Sure. Step.
I really have to thank Glenn Fawcett and Shelley Wolf especially, because they've really helped me realize that broadcasting is exactly what I want to go into, especially with my internship down at FATV. And I really want to thank the Wilson family for awarding this scholarship to me, because it's helping me move on into my career and go to college. And I really just want to thank everyone here.
Congratulations to Stephanie. We also want to recognize that hopefully soon on FATV will be a documentary she's putting together about sports and the importance of sports throughout the community and how it brings people together. So we're looking forward to that documentary and hopefully sending it on to other communities as well. So again, as we talked a little bit about the importance of public access and how important it is that this is your TV station and how you can get involved, our state representative every day gets emails from me saying, come on, get on board, support us, how do we do this? And he's been one of the biggest supporters. A year ago, As I mentioned, I came to this station and to this community not knowing a single thing about Fitchburg, only have been to Boston twice in my life, and trying to figure it all out. And I have never seen someone who gets public access from a government side so well. And last year we had the opportunity, I just want to throw it out there before I forget, of honoring Mr. Dave Spence, who's here with us tonight, so we're thrilled about that, who has been involved in public access and all forms of television, and has been such a huge supporter and advocate for us as well. But in doing so, so is our local state representative, who is Mr. Steve Dinatelli, and I'm pleasured to honor him tonight and bring him forward to honor Miss Ellen and everything that he does and the continued support for public access.
Thank you, Shelley. You'll notice, as she said, she's from California, so you'll have to forgive her, but she has an accent. Certainly don't. Yeah. You know, I want to also recognize the person that I succeeded. I'll never take his place, but I'm not sure if Representative Gogan is still here. Has he left? He did. I'm sorry to hear that, but let's have a round of applause for Representative Gogan, please. You know, Shelley talks about FATV and the importance of it to the community. And I can assure you this, that when I'm in Boston, and I've had this conversation with different representatives, not all public access stations are created equal. And you know that by what we produce here in Fitchburg with Fitchburg Public Access Television. It's just a marvelous, marvelous operation and organization in the city of Fitchburg, and it really brings out the community. I know we're here tonight to honor Ellen, and you know, I'm told that I'm at everything that goes on in the city, and that's part of the job. But I'll tell you what, I'm unrivaled by Ellen because she's at those same events. Thank you, Ellen. I'm going to be brief, obviously. I've got a citation from the Chamber of the House of Representatives, but Ellen, it's all about community, and you really get that whole concept. And you've made just the conversations we've had at I hate to talk about a competitor, but the Fay Club, sorry, Oak Hill, but some of the conversations, particularly about Crocker Field, have been just eye-opening and inspiring. So you'll always be here to help us out. I want you to come up. I've got a little thank you from the House of Representatives. Oh, you know what I wanted to mention also? Governor Dukakis is here. I want to tell you, Governor, you look more Greek than I look Italian. I just wanted to say that. It's terrific. Handsome devil that he is.
Okay.
This is from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Ellen DiGeronimo in recognition of being honored with the Fitchburg Public Access Television most prestigious Boulder Award. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors, and it's given this 9th day of May 2011, and it's at the State House, Boston, Massachusetts, offered by Speaker of the House Robert A. DeLeo and offered by myself, Stephen L. Dinatelli. Ellen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's go over and take a picture. That's all right.
Also, I want to recognize the Fitchburg State University Pop Sextet out there in the back room. They volunteered for the event this evening. They are spectacular. The members are Hildy, Cindy, and Haley Schilling, Paul Marcoux, Rob Podusky, and Peter Travasati. I hope I said that right, Peter. Our next speaker is not unfamiliar with Fitchburg. He was elected the youngest mayor in the city's history at 25 years old. We know from last year when he was involved with the roast of Dave Svens that he's been on several canoe trips. One important canoe trip that he was on made people look at the Nashua River and understand that the Nashua River could be a clean and wonderful river for recreation, and he went canoeing down it, whether it was red or yellow or green or whatever it was at the time. But he was instrumental in getting people to be involved in cleaning up the river. Also, Fitchburg won an All-American Award under the leadership of Bill Flynn. And it's wonderful to have him here again tonight because he worked very closely with Ellen DiGeronimo. And I'm very pleased to introduce former Mayor Bill Flynn.
Thank you very much, Bill. It's a pleasure to be back here, but it's a particular pleasure tonight because you're honoring a very special person. And there were a lot of jokes last year with Dave because we can make jokes about Dave, but not about Ellen. Ellen is different. Ellen is a very special person, and as it shows in your program, she was a pioneer, a political leader, and a devoted citizen of this community. And while that says a lot about her, it really doesn't tell you the tale of the whole tapestry that Ellen DiGeronimo is all about. She is an extraordinary public servant and an extraordinary community leader. She started her career back in that era when all of us were called to government, when public service was a really noble calling, when we were asked not what our country could do for us, but what we could do for our country. It was a time when public service was always about giving more, and it was not about self. It was about a shared value to be committed to other people and to do good for other people. She has lived this selfless service throughout her whole life, her whole career. She utilized her ability to be an inspirational leader on the City Council, as an associate commissioner of the Department of Public Works, as a member of a chamber executive, and now as a committed citizen. And never are her intentions questioned, because she does it because it's core to her to do good for other people, regardless of the consequences that she might have to face herself. I think the Boulder Award is a particularly fitting award for Ellen. And if I were to come up with a metaphor to describe her career, I would say, let's stick with the Rollstone Boulder. Now, for those of you that don't know much about Fitchburg, the Rollstone Boulder came from Mount Monadnock. It was brought here by a glacier, and for hundreds of years, thousands of years, it sat atop Rollstone Hill. I didn't realize this till I researched this. It wasn't until the 30s they took it off the mountain, and they brought it down and put it in the center of Fitchburg. And guys like Mike Dukakis would come in and say, what the hell have you got a rock in the middle of your town for? But it's a special rock because that rock represented a whole lot of things to a lot of people. Back in the days of the Mohawk Indians and the early settlers, the rock atop that hill was a milestone and indicated they had made progress along their journey. So too has Ellen DiGeronimo served as a milestone. And she has been someone that generations have looked up to, like that rock. They looked up to her as an example of someone who was a dedicated and committed public servant, who only thought about one thing, doing good for others. Just as that rock is a community icon, it was a symbol of our industrial past, and it's been a symbol of the immigrants who built the infrastructure of this community. So too Ellen has become a community icon. There's a poem about the rock, which was written by the Boulder. It was written by a former resident. And it says this: I am the Boulder, the pillar of my community, and the model of strength and perseverance. Ellen, yes, you are a pillar of the community, and the support and work you have done for this community deserves our heartfelt thanks and appreciation. You've made a difference. And so, Ellen, congratulations. This is a great honor. But I also want to say, Ralph, thank you for supporting her.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next guest, I really had a wonderful experience of contacting two people that are here tonight that were just as pleasant and wonderful as can be, Mike and Kitty Dukakis. I simply threw it out there, sent an email to Northeastern University, and literally within 30 seconds, I got a reply from Mr. Dukakis, and I was shocked. And even in the emails, the sense of love for Ellen DiGeronimo. As a matter of fact, I think the quote was, "We are huge Ellen fans." And their respect for Ellen came through even through an email. Our next speaker, I believe, has a master's degree in communications and knows what FATV is going through and the things that we do to help build a community and have the community understand what's going on in every section of life. I would like to introduce Mrs. Kitty Dukakis.
It is just a real thrill to be here tonight, and when I tell you what we've been through, Michael and I, in the last 4 or 5 days, you'll understand our feelings about Ellen DiGeronimo. There are very few people who I have met in the years that Michael and I have been involved politically that come close to having the kind of sensitivity and understanding that Ellen DiGeronimo has always had. And I just consider it a privilege to be here tonight. Michael and I spent the last 4.5 days in San Francisco at grandparents' weekend of 2 of our 8 grandchildren, and had one of the most extraordinary experiences we've ever had. I'm the daughter of a musician. Some of you remember my dad. But our 2 granddaughters participated in a program of music that was unlike anything I have ever seen before. We got home last night at about 1 a.m. this morning, and after unpacking, we finally got to bed around 2 and got up this morning and had all kinds of activities. And I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it tonight. I had a Pilates class that I had to attend because I had been away for too long, and I had to babysit for 3 of my grandchildren this afternoon. And their mother, our dear daughter-in-law, was late coming back from what she was doing. And so I was late by 45 minutes getting home, and I was given 12 minutes to get out of my Pilates gear and into something else. And Michael is a very careful driver, as some of you know, who have been with him. I also want to share something with you. Some of you know that we spend our winters, thank goodness, in Southern California in a place called, boy, I'm going to forget this in a minute. When you're close to 75, it's hard to remember all of the places, but in Westwood. And we have been doing this for 16 years, and I found it very difficult to talk to my son, who lives in Newton, Massachusetts, my sister, who is at the beginning of the Cape, about what I was going through, because our temperatures this past winter were in the 70s and 80s, and I just knew how horribly everybody else was feeling in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So don't feel too badly for us, because this was a very special part of our winter. And I've been a lifelong resident of Massachusetts and hate Massachusetts winters with a passion. So being for 3.5 months in that state. But Ellen stands out for me as one of the really extraordinary human beings who have worked with Michael Dukakis. And she was a woman who was not afraid to get soiled by some of the stuff that was going on around her. And I just have such enormous respect for so much of what she has done, not only in the city of Fitchburg, and she has touched so many in this city, but throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So it is a joy to be with her, to congratulate her, and to tell her how much we love her.
It's my pleasure to be able to introduce our keynote speaker tonight. I'm sure most of you here are familiar with former Governor Michael Dukakis. I know some of the younger folks here may not remember. Just to bring you up to date on some of the things that he's accomplished in his lifetime, he was the Governor of Massachusetts, 1975 to 1979, and 1983 to 1991. Voted the most effective governor in the U.S. by the National Governors Association in 1986. He was the Democratic Party nominee for President of the United States in 1988, Vice Chair of the Amtrak Reform Board 1998 to 2003, visiting professor UCLA School of Public Policy and Social Research, a distinguished professor at Northeastern University whose areas of study are public policy, health policy and politics, state and local government, and public management. He also earned his law degree at Harvard University. It is my pleasure to introduce a really decent guy that it has been absolutely a pleasure to communicate with him, former Governor Michael Dukakis.
Thanks, Bill, and thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thanks. Thanks, Bill, very much. When Bill and I were shooting emails back and forth, one of the things he said was, we'll have somebody come to Brookline and pick you up. I said, it's okay. We sure know how to get to Fitchburg. Because we've been here many times, I'm sure I don't have to tell you. Steve, be proud of where you come from. You know, you're part Sicilian. And if you're part Sicilian, folks, you have Greek blood coursing through your veins. As a matter of fact, we do look alike. You know, how's your Italian? How's your Italian? Pretty good? Well, there's an old Italian expression. There are a few Italians in the room, right? Ralph? A few Italians in the room. It goes, una faccia, una razza. One face, one race. We're all part of the same tribe, you know. That's why we look so much alike and act so much alike. As a matter of fact, you know, Tina Talley, DiGeronimo, Dukakis, welcome to the Mediterranean Hour. I mean, we're all part of it. Look, it's great to be with you. I owe you all an apology. I know there were a few Republicans in the room. But I owe you all an apology. You know, if I had beaten Bush 1, folks, you'd have never heard of Bush 2. And we wouldn't be in this mess. So it's all my fault, and I feel that personally every day. It's great to be with you, with so many people who have been so much a part of our lives. Ron, who was my Commissioner of Commerce, even, I'm sorry he's left us, but I remember meeting that young city councilor who took me by the hand all over Cleghorn, way back when I was first coming out here looking for support. Ellen and Bill, who, I mean, I remember, I spent a lot of time at 177 Richardson Road when this guy was 25 years of age and you elected him mayor. And he became my Secretary of Communities and Development in my first administration and really defined that job. Sadly today, folks, we don't have a Secretary of Communities and Development. We ought to. But he was the guy that really defined what that role was all about. And then, of course, Ellen. Poor Ellen. I said, hi, what's that graffiti doing on the railroad bridge over Route 2? I mean, nothing has changed. Dukakis is still badgering Ellen about what the state looks like. But it was these two folks and others in this room and others in this community who helped me to understand just how important communities like Fitchburg and Leominster and Gardner and Worcester and Fall River and New Bedford, and I could go on, were, and how badly they had been neglected by the political leadership of this state for a long, long time. And I think it's fair to say that it was our first administration, Bill, that began to focus seriously on the problems of these communities, because they were deteriorating badly. And then, of course, I had to take an involuntary sabbatical for bad behavior. And fortunately, you learn some things. I remember Frank Bellotti saying, they say defeat Bill's character, and Bellotti used to say, and if that's true, I got a lot of character, because Bellotti took a lot of defeats before he finally got himself elected. But it's true, and I think I came back as a better governor the second time around. But by that time, there wasn't any question about our commitment to these communities, and we worked very hard at it. Because without the support of the government of the Commonwealth, communities like this cannot survive and prosper. So here's my question. What the hell happened to my registry of motor vehicles? Where is it? Anyway, I mean, but this was part of the policy and the strategy that Ellen and Bill and others helped me to put together. How do you take a limited amount of resources and try to focus them on these communities and help them to come back and rebuild their downtowns, revitalize the communities, make that, I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to call it that state university. I mean, it's Fitchburg State to me, but make a place like Fitchburg State deeply and effectively relevant to the future of this community, because it's important, you know. It's a great resource, not just as an employer, but as a resource for the community. And how do you take all of these state resources in very tough times, Steve, and keep moving forward and do the kinds of things that can make these communities vibrant and vital and great places to live, and bring up kids and be cultural centers? We have, and after all, this television, this station itself is part of the cultural resources of this community. And I hope we'll never forget that, just how important it is that folks at the State House, governors of either party, and the people that work for them, focus on communities like this, because they're absolutely critical to the state's future. And Ellen was one of the people that helped me to understand that, because she has an instinct for this thing. I mean, I think it's genetic. I'm serious. She is just instinctively somebody who understands what it takes to build, revive, help communities like this to be the kind of communities that they can and should be. And she had a lot to do with helping me to understand that. And I just hope, as we look forward, folks, and we've gone through a very tough time, that we won't forget that if the Commonwealth is going to focus on anything, it better focus on these kinds of communities. Understand the historical richness of these communities. Understand the immigrant traditions of these communities. Because we're all sons and grandsons and daughters and granddaughters of immigrants around here. And I'm very proud of that fact. I'm very proud of the fact that my parents came here on the boat. That my father, who came here when he was 15, couldn't speak a word of English, didn't have a nickel in his pocket, had a couple of brothers working in the textile mills in Lawrence and Lowell. 12 years later was graduating from the Harvard Medical School. I don't know how he did it. It's incredible. My mother, the first Greek-American young woman ever go away to college in the history of the United States, came here when she was 9. And if it hadn't been for an elementary school principal named Stanley Gray at the Winter Street Elementary School in Haverhill, it would never have happened. So if you're wondering why my middle name is Stanley, not exactly a Mediterranean name, can we agree, Steve? It's because my mother wanted one of her sons to carry the name of that elementary school principal. And in later this month, folks, we're going to be going up to Bates College in Lewiston, Maine, for the graduation of our oldest of our 8 grandchildren. Alexander Jane Dukakis is going to graduate from Bates College, where her great-grandmother arrived in 1921. Almost unheard of for a Greek immigrant girl to be going to college and away to college. And the first week she was there, she called us very excited. She said, "You won't believe this. I was in the library studying. I looked up. There's a picture of Yaya on the wall." My mother, her great-grandmother. And that, too, is part of the fabric of this community, of this rich mix of Irish and Italian and French Canadians and some Greeks and some Finns and a few others who together made this community what it was. So we're just delighted to be here. As Kitty said, difficult though it is, we drag ourselves out of New England in late December. And I teach at UCLA, and it's a terrible burden. Somebody's got to do it. We were thinking of you this winter, let me tell you. I don't want to make you feel bad, but this was an unusually beautiful winter in Southern California. Shelley, let me tell you, it's nice to be out there. But I want you to know I start teaching tomorrow in summer 1 at Northeastern, and I'll be there for summer 2, and I'll be there for the fall. And I'm very proud of the fact, folks, that I'm now teaching at that great university, which last year had the highest number of applications for admission to the freshman class of any non-public university in the United States of America. 42,000 kids applied for 2,800 spots. What's it all about? It's about Boston, and it's about co-op. It's about the opportunity Northeastern gives its students to combine study and work. And I hope, I know my friend, the president of Fitchburg State, is not here tonight. I'm a big admirer of him for a long time. But I hope that we can convince a lot of the schools in the state system to go co-op. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it for the kids and for those of us who teach them. And needless to say, for a guy like me, gives me an opportunity to open up doors to public service, Bill, for terrific young people, folks, that we're producing in this country and that I'm privileged to teach. And I also want to say, Steve, before I conclude, that I'm glad you are such an advocate for this station and for local access television. It's a great resource. Those of you who are part of the Cultural Council here, first bill I ever got through the legislature as a young legislator was the bill to create a state council in the arts, now the Massachusetts Cultural Council, Steve. And that, too, is an important part. Your museum, the library, all of this stuff. And, of course, Shelley, what you and all the people in this room are doing. Very important part of making this community what it is and helping people understand this rich history that is part of communities like this. But nobody, I can tell you, in this Commonwealth helped me understand that more than Ellen. She was a terrific public servant. A terrific public servant. And we had a ball. I mean, we had a lot of fun. We really did, you know. And I'm proud to say that public service, in my opinion, continues to be one of the great callings. I'm happy to report to you that we have hundreds and hundreds of young people, at least at my university and at UCLA, who want to do public service as careers. And I think guys like me and others, Steve, Ellen, Bill, all of us who've been part of this, have a particular responsibility to encourage those kids. I hope you've got interns. I know you've got interns. Can't say enough of that. These are life-transforming experiences. When I was a young state representative, Steve, one of the guidance counselors at Brookline High School had the good sense to call me and say, you know, the last half of the senior year is kind of a waste for these kids. They put in their applications. Would you like an intern? Now, in those days, we had no staff. I mean, no staff. We had no offices. We operated out of those telephone booths. Are they still there? outside the, that was it. You know, you typed your own letters, you did your own. And I began getting a series of Brookline High School seniors. It's like manna from heaven. I had, I think, 6 or 7 of them, Steve, during the course of my legislative career. Folks, every single one of them went into public service as a career and did great work. One of them became Deputy Chief of Staff to Tip O'Neill when he was Speaker of the House of Representatives because of those experiences. So we've got a lot to do, and it's folks like Ellen that inspired me and a lot of you and continue to inspire us to do what we do. Obviously, as a guy who has spent virtually his entire life in public service, I'm troubled by some of the stuff that I hear these days. But I guess that's part of life and part of politics and part of what goes on. But I hope we can keep our eye on the ball, folks. And I just have to say, as Kitty said, and by the way, the best-looking Social Security recipient in America, is there any question about that? Is there any question about that? Kitty says, why do you keep saying that? I've been on Social Security for nearly 10 years. I said, all the more reason why you're the best-looking Social Security. But I just want to tell you that being the governor and first lady of this Commonwealth was one of the great, great privileges that we've had. Doing what Kitty does in so many, many areas of mental health, refugees and immigrants, this kind of thing, and being able to be in a position where I can inspire young people to pursue careers in public service is just a great opportunity. But it was folks like Ellen that inspired me and helped me to understand just how important it was that we help communities like this one to be the best that they could be. And as long as we're around and can find our way, Bill, from Brookline to Fitchburg, and we did it okay tonight, but we've got to get you a faster train, don't you think? I mean, is that project underway? I mean, when can I come from North Station to Fitchburg in an hour or less? Is that going to be possible one of these days? It is. In my lifetime? Don't get me started on construction management and how long it's taken us to get things done. You know, that's what happens with former governors. You know, huh? Okay. I will be there for the ribbon cutting. Invite me. I will be on that first train if you let me know. But thank you for having us. Thank you for honoring this really great public servant. And thank you for all of the support you gave me, gave us, and gave the work that we tried to do. I hope we at least came close to meeting your expectations. And if there's anything Kitty and I can do in the future to help this community, just sing out. We'll be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Dukakis. Wow, a hard one to follow, I will say. But I'm honored to be able to follow this gentleman and everybody else that spoke before him. And before we go on, I just want to talk a little bit about basically what Mr. Dukakis was saying. What better of a person to be able to honor someone who's done such public service and been so civic-minded in this community. Again, I only came here a year ago, but last year at the Boulder Awards, everybody was like, you got to meet Ellen, you got to meet Ellen. Who's Ellen? Ellen was sitting in the back of the room. Ellen, you got to meet Ellen. Okay, I got to meet Ellen. So I met Ellen. Ellen said, pleasure to meet you. It was a quick moment, 30 seconds, I think. And the phone kept ringing every day. Ellen, I just want to take you around town. I want to show you around town. I want to show you this town. I love history personally, which was great for me. And she said, hey, I want to show you around the town. Well, unfortunately, it was almost a little over a year until we finally got to take that trip. But she never stopped. And she never stopped sharing what this town was all about and being the support for me in this community, and also trying to share the excitement of what Fitchburg was all about and what it had to offer. And she continues a project in town that we're working together to continue the civic mindedness of what she's doing, and it's called Discover Fitchburg. So if any of you guys have or have not seen this brochure around town, please know this was generated by Ellen. Ellen has done so much for this community. I wish I could speak more to everything that she's done. Unfortunately, I can't because I haven't been here to witness it. But everything and every story that I've ever heard is so touching. And spending the hours and hours I have recently in the last week and a half just to get to know her and really talk with her and understand the commitment that she has given to this community and the support that she has had from her family. And it's been actually great. I wanted to share that I was helping to film a documentary with Stephanie at the high school, and we were sitting there with two of her sons interviewing them, and I had no idea who they were. And I was like, wow, I love everything these guys are talking about, stand for. Who are these gentlemen? And Stephanie says, well, you know they're Ellen's sons. How could you not know? Well, it makes sense now because they're very civic-minded, and it makes sense because everything she stands for about supporting community, being involved in this community, representing, being a pioneer and a leader in this community.
And the next time I saw Ellen, I got involved with the Crocker Field Committee, and the first time I met her, within 10 minutes, I felt like I had known her for 10 years. Her warmth, her sincerity, her genuineness, her commitment, and her energy especially. Whenever I get tired, all I have to do is talk and look at this woman, and I'm inspired to keep going. So, directors at FATV voted unanimously to award this year's Boulder Award to Ellen DiGeronimo.
Hello. If you will just indulge me for just a minute, please. I would like all the members of my family to please stand up. Thank you. I honestly really know where to begin. But first of all, I want to thank the board of directors of Fitchburg Access Television for honoring me with the Boulder Award. I happen to love Goldstone Boulder. And I really had never thought of it like the way that Goldstone thought it tonight, but that would take on a different meaning. But I have to share something with you, and I hope that all of you will remember this. When you're coming down Mechanic Street, coming into Main Street, to your left, to see the Rollstone Boulder. But I ask you to gaze up to Rollstone Hill and just imagine the hills being alive with the sound of music. Music in the languages of all the wonderful people who built our city. It's amazing. Think about it. You know, it is, and I hear this in my head. And I love it when I'm stopped. I never mind being stopped at traffic signals. I learned a lot about them, Governor Dukakis, when I was working for you. And so I just want to share that with you because I might forget, and I don't want to. I want to thank Mike and Kitty, Governor Dukakis and Mrs. Dukakis, but they're Mike and Kitty, and they always were, and Bill Flynn, and Ron Anson, and Mary Lou Saborski, and am I forgetting anybody? Oh, Elliot Side. We were all part of Mike Dukakis' family. Imagine. And when he says that he knows Fitchburg and that he was committed to helping our community help itself, because his whole policy was to prepare, use the resources that were available from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to help the cities and the towns prepare for good times. And that's really true. And there are many many places that I could take you in Fitchburg to show you that became a reality because of Mike Dukakis's policy. Well, I promised myself that I would not speak all night, and that's hard because I have a lot of things I'd like to say. I want to thank all of you who are here. I have a friend from grammar school here tonight. Can you imagine that? A girl that I grew up with on the South Side, and I don't think I'll embarrass her, but Nancy, would you please stand up? You know, we're all about the people who have generously cared for us, worked with us, and I'd like to say that the Boulder Award really is an award that I'd like to share with so many people. I won't even try to say how many there are, but the opportunities that I have had to be in the public world, I owe to people like Mike Dukakis. I owe to Bill Flynn. Bill Flynn was a young fellow right out of the John Kennedy era. And I think Jan Woods will remember we had coffee hours, and it was so much fun, and he was so interested in sharing what he could do, and his energy was just, it was contagious, really. I was thinking today about this award and thinking about coming here tonight, and I recalled that I had the pleasure to meet Jane Goodall many years ago, and I had an old National Geographic that thankfully I could find under the piles and piles of paper. And I went to hear her speak, and I was absolutely thrilled. And I took my old National Geographic up to her and asked her if she would mind signing it. And she said, "Oh, wait just a minute. I will sign it with a pencil that won't, or a pen rather, that won't fade." And when I went back to sit down, I looked at it, and it said, "Follow your heart." And to be honest with all of you, I have been following my heart forever. And my heart has led to all of you. And of course, I owe ever so much to my husband, Ralph, because he is and will always be the wind beneath my wings. I think the song was made for us. As, believe me. I could never have done what I was able to do without him. And I also need to share with you that we were partners in raising our children. And there was no way that I was going to get on the train that first time to go to work in Boston unless in my heart and soul I knew that my husband was there with our family. So thank you, Dan Mylott and Dave Svens. I'm honored to be one of the recipients of the Boulder Award. And thank you, Shelley and Bill and all the Board of Directors. I am truly honored. Thank you.
Well, thank you again, Ellen, for everything that you do for this community and you continue to do, and being the inspiration for every one of us to know what we need to do out there to be an important part of our community. So I want to thank everybody again for coming tonight. Thank you for everybody for my continued support that you give to me and to the station and to everyone in this room, and hopefully we'll have another great Boulder Award next year. But in the meantime, let's follow the inspiration that Ellen has led for this community. And thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.